In case you missed it, here's Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.
How'd you feel if, you went down Christmas morning, you unwrapped that present, and found out you were getting a secondhand gift? Well, according to a new survey, 82% of people are open to receiving secondhand holiday gifts, which is up 11% from last year. And I think that is a sign of the times that we all know that money is tight for most of us. 76% of people wouldn't have a problem giving a used gift. 67% of people say the stigma around giving previously owned or previously enjoyed gifts has lessened, mostly due to affordability, but also practicality, sustainability. Some people want things that, are no longer available new. So what are the items that people are giving, previously enjoyed? Electronics, the most common, far and away, followed by sporting goods and home improvement items. People are also giving secondhand books. I mean, that makes a lot of sense, right? I know you've got those spots around Chatham-Kent where you've got the little libraries where you can go and put in older books or any books, really, and then other people can just come and enjoy them. Also, though, people are giving away things that are secondhand, like media, Blu-rays, vinyl records, toys and games. Jewelry also made the list. Ceramics and ornaments, video games, arts and crafts, and bags and purses. Now, apparel did not make the list, so we're not talking about pants and shirts and things like that, but so many things are on this list, and many people take a lot of pride, right, in being able to go thrifting and go to secondhand stores and find some great hidden items. So it seems like a lot of us this year open to receiving those gently used or secondhand holiday gifts. Do you like Dr. Pepper?
I love Dr. Pepper.
Same. Growing up was one of my favorite pops to have, although generally we would get Pop Shop Pop.
Oh, yes.
Remember that stuff?
Love Pop Shop. So did they have a version of Dr. Pepper?
I think they did. Like there was that cherry Coke kind of ish. It was similar, right? Well, why are we talking about this? Well, 3 men in Oklahoma were arrested for stealing Dr. Pepper. And it wasn't like they grabbed a couple of cases. They stole more than $100,000 worth of it.
So if you're like, how can you steal that much Dr. Pepper? These guys were stealing pallets of Dr. Pepper syrup from a warehouse. So the syrup comes in these 5-gallon bags that are in a box. Those are then sold to places like gas stations and fast food restaurants, who would then sell them as like individual fountain drinks, where they mix the syrup with the bubbly, fizzy water. It was an inside job, though, and the thieves planned on doing the same thing. They were going to sell the pellets to a gas station for less than the original price and then pocket the money. And 2 of the men used to work at Dr. Pepper, and one actually admitted he started doing this whole scheme and stealing the pallets while he was still an employee there.
So he stole about 10 pallets worth about $40,000 while he was still employed, and has been stealing 2 or 3 pallets a week since he quit in August.
So the third culprit was the guy at the gas station that they were selling this all to, because he knew he was getting stolen syrup, and that's why it was so cheap. But he was like, I don't care. I'm going to go along with it. So now he's facing some charges too.
Yeah, all 3 facing felony charges. So that carries some heavy weight because of the amount that they stole, over $100,000 worth of delicious Dr. Pepper. We've got several examples of law and disorder. A man was arrested for shooting fireworks at a helicopter.
Yeah, sounds like a great idea. This happened in Georgia. Guy lives near this 12-acre wedding venue, and it has a helicopter pad in the middle of a large pond. So it's very common for weddings to end with the helicopter taking off with the newlyweds to take them on their honeymoon. Well, this neighbor has had a beef with the wedding venue for about 15 years now, known to local authorities, but they say this time he took things just way too far.
We're very familiar with him. They've had several instances where he's caused trouble at previous weddings. As the helicopter was leaving, one of the residents in that neighborhood shot a mortar into the air that almost struck the helicopter.
So when he shot the firework, the bride and groom were on board, but fortunately it missed and no one was hurt. The man was charged with terroristic threats and acts. The venue has had the guy arrested at least once before for disorderly conduct. And if he had hit that helicopter, who knows what may have happened? It may have been deadly.
Yeah, it would have been bad. And dude, maybe you just need to move. You don't like it? Move. Go somewhere else.
If you're looking for something, I guess, check the couch cushions, right? When you're looking for the remote, your phone, that kind of thing.
Change, that kind of stuff. But police in Florida checked the couch cushions and found a 39-year-old woman. Apparently, she was wanted on a parole violation for selling fentanyl. So they showed up at her home and they couldn't find her anywhere. until they checked the couch cushions because she was hiding literally inside the couch.
Inside. So it's unclear if someone tipped them off of her being there, or maybe one of the cops sat on the couch and heard an ouch or something. I don't know how they ended up figuring it out. In any event, she's in a whole lot of trouble for doing that. Here's another one. A Florida man was caught red-handed by a local news station selling disabled parking permits online for $200 a piece.
All you need is an ID. That's it. Send me your ID and $200. I'll get you the handicap.
You're selling disabled permits?
As for a friend, I'm doing it.
What?
For a friend.
What you're doing is illegal. What do you say to disabled
I'm not
people?
selling nothing.
What do you say to disabled people today?
I'm not selling nothing. Guys, put that camera down, guys.
Trying to run away. I'm not selling nothing. You just said you were. And you said you were doing it for a
For a
friend.
friend.
Yeah, and that friend is you.
Wink. And finally, it was a year ago. A man in Florida was arrested after trying to shoplift from a Walmart while the store was hosting a Shop with a Cop event.
Yeah, they just had one of those events here locally at Walmart, and it was a great success this past weekend.
Yeah, so they do Holiday with the Hero, they call it, but Shop with the Cop. And it happened again, this time in Michigan. A woman was caught trying to shoplift on Saturday while they were hosting Shop with the Cop, and around 75 police officers were in the store.
She chose poorly.
So an employee noticed that she was stealing more than $700 in merchandise, so she told one of the cops about it, so they followed her out to her vehicle, which is parked next to all of the patrol vehicles. Like, wouldn't that tip you off? Like, maybe this isn't the best time to try this.
So she was arrested and taken to jail.
And why is the carpet all wet, Todd?
I don't know, Margot.
Such a great scene from Christmas Vacation, right? As the Griswolds are lighting up their house and he's putting the lights up next door. But could you imagine living next door to a house like that?
Well, there's a couple in New York State by the name of Tim and Grace. They hold the record for the most Christmas lights on a residential property. So back in 2012, they put up over 364,000 Christmas lights. And then just a couple years later, they beat their own record with over 600,000 lights. So every year, every December, thousands of people visit their house, and they use it as a fundraiser for local charities. So what they do is, you know, everyone comes in, they make donations, and so far they've raised over $700,000. But their neighbors are not so impressed.
Yeah, they're kind of sick of it. The lights, obviously, as you can imagine, very bright. There's an endless line of cars, and they even blast music through big speakers outside, too. So a guy by the name of Edward compared it to, quote, running a Legoland out of your property for 40 days a year. He ran for a seat on the town board last year just to make the city rein in the display, but he ended up losing the election.
You know you're mad when you run for city council.
Right?
Well, this year's lights display is bigger than ever, should set another record. They say it's over 720,000 lights. Wow. Along with 1,700 strobes. Yeah, because that's not annoying. And they open it up the day after U.S. Thanksgiving, and it runs until December 28th. And the neighbors are not happy, as you've heard, but Tim and Grace say they're not going to do it forever. They say once they hit $1 million in donations, they'll stop. But, I mean, it sounds like they've been doing this for well over a decade. And could you imagine trying to get home at night and you're stuck behind these slow cars?
And you're tired and you just want to pull into your driveway and there's a long line of cars and music blaring.
Yeah, which I don't understand. How can they get away with that, with the music blaring?
Probably because noise bylaws, right? You only have to be quiet at a certain time.
Like what time? Like 9, 10?
9, 10, 11, right? We all know that person that goes out and mows at 7:01 a.m., right? In the summer. So this is probably similar to that, right?
No, but you think because it's gotten this big, that they would have one of those like little FM transmitters that I've seen some houses do that you can tune into to hear the music that goes along with the lights.
I mean, there's light displays all over Chatham-Kent too, not to this extent. I know the city used to have a spot you could go to, right? You could check out some of the light displays. I know Tilbury's got their lights up, right? But they're doing that into the new year.
Yeah, that goes until sometime in January. Hold on,
think,
January 5th. They're on every night from 5:30 to 11 p.m. But that's like in the park. Like you have to get out and walk through.
Mm-hmm. The city used to have that website, though, at one point.
Well, they're doing like sort of that light up Chatham-Kent for the holidays.
That's what it was,
contest.
Yeah.
And you can nominate yourself or at like a neighbor's house. And then winners will receive gift cards. I
mean, it is really cool to see when you're driving or, walking along. I just wouldn't want to live next door to the Griswold. And we've got some animal stories today about lobster, also a couple of deers, and a bird.
So first, the lobster named Bowie, who's extremely rare. He's half orange, half blue, half male, half female.
Wow.
So he was caught off the coast of Maine and has achieved internet stardom because of this rarity. Because being a bicolored lobster, that's a 1 in 500 million occurrence. So the man who caught it, Jacob, showed off the rare catch on social media. And the commenters are the one who gave the lobster his rock star name of Bowie. But other contenders were Two-Face, Icy Hot, because half orange, half blue.
That's awesome, actually.
And Lobstery McLobsterface.
Which I would have voted for.
Yes. Now, it is possible for Bowie to lay eggs. And Jacob is hoping that does happen one day because they don't know if maybe he'll pass that sort of genetics along.
Interesting. Well, how about this? Police were called to a TJ Maxx in Maine when the store's front glass window was smashed. However, instead of finding a thief, they found a white-tailed deer. I guess that was, maybe there to do some Black Friday shopping.
He heard about the deals and he came crashing in.
Yeah, knocked over some items before being guided back outside because with a deer, you just, please leave. Fortunately, they said the animal was able to leave the building on its own and was not seriously injured.
It was a few years behind the Black Friday chaos. When people used to get in fights at stores over items.
But not the first deer to go through a window.
No, a deer crashed into a lingerie store over in Michigan. And the deer absolutely trashed the shop before finally finding its way back out.
We had a deer leap through our glass door and create an entire ruckus all the way around the shop. This was a big buck. It was not a small doe by any means. I mean, you were not going to mess with this deer.
I mean, maybe he was just shopping for his significant other, perhaps.
You never know.
Couldn't find something that he really liked. And finally, someone's pet cockatiel is showing off some beatboxing skills. By the way, I should add, this is one continuous video. He didn't edit this together. This is the bird just going.
Just beatboxing.
And doing its thing.
I guess, well, you have a bird, so I think, Dave, we got to get on this. We can go viral with your bird, beatboxing.
I think that might have to be the next thing, right? I've taught it Pet the Birdie, and she kind of sounds like she says it, because apparently the female cockatiels, they don't say words. They more mimic, and they'll whistle a lot.
Oh, okay.
We've got her really close to the Andy Griffith theme. She's starting to whistle
with
now.
The whistling?
Yeah, that whole thing. So that, and then she'll say pretty, pretty to the dog all the time. So he looks at the dog. She wants to land on the dog, and the dog's like, I would rather you not do that. So I got the dog out for a run yesterday. It was a nice day. A little bit of a bite in the breeze, depending upon where you were.
But it wasn't as windy as it has been, I'll say that much.
Well, part of the run felt a little bit like this old Sesame Street song.
Say, who are the people in your neighborhood? The people that you meet each day. As long as
I've met a few interesting people, and no bad encounters. They were interesting. So I was out for this run, and there was a lady at the light, and she had a couple bags, and Sadie was kind of like, "Oh, what's in the bags?"
Yep.
And so she was like, "Oh, can I pet your dog?" And it was an older lady, and I said, "Yeah, no problem." She ended up, we stood there, through like a couple of lights while she told me about a Chihuahua that she used to have that was 19, and now she's got another Chihuahua, and telling me about some other things. I'm just like, part of me's trying to be polite, but at the same time, I'm sweating now, and the wind is cold. So I'm like, I want to keep moving. So I'm like, all right, well, you have a good day. And I kept going.
It's one thing when you're out for just a walk with the dog and you stop, but when you're out for a run, you just kind of want to keep going.
And then I got into Prestantia, and there was an older gentleman that was coming out of his house, and I don't know if I looked really cold. He's like, hey, how you doing? And I'm like, good, how are you? And then Sadie wanted to go say hi, so he pet her, and he goes, are you okay? I'm like, well, I'm a little cold, but no, I'm okay. Are you okay? Thank you for checking in. And then he drove off and he gave me a honk, and I was like, oh, that was very nice.
Is he just one of those people that was like, I don't understand why people run. Are you running from something? Something wrong?
Is something chasing you?
That's the only reson why you're running. Why are you running? Who's chasing you?
Should we all be afraid? And then the most interesting encounter, and again, not a bad one. So I was like at another light, and this lady comes walking up, and then Sadie wanted to say hello. Again, she's a golden retriever. She wants to say hello to everyone. And the lady says, and I quote, oh, she probably smells the Timbits I have in my pockets. And I'm like,
what? Timbits in her pockets?
Timbits in your pockets?
For your own snack?
And she goes, well, that way they keep nice and warm. Okay, I got to cross the light now. It's time for me to go.
I'm just hoping that they were in a bag in her pocket, or they just like loose in there, getting sugar all over the place.
I don't know. That was interesting. So I went home and I was telling my wife that story. And I said, so yeah, she looked at me and said, oh, he must smell the Timbits in my pocket. And she goes, oh, she called Sadie a he? I said, that's your takeaway from that story? Not the Timbits in the pocket? This question going viral online after a woman claims someone made this offer for real. Would you sell your dog for $200,000?
I mean, it's a tough question. You love your dog, but, $200,000, that's not nothing. So this woman by the name of Alexis recently got a Doberman puppy. It's around 6 months old now, and she shared a video recently where she said someone offered her $200,000 for her dog, and she turned them down.
Someone offered us $200K for our puppy, and I told my husband absolutely not because I birthed her. Would you guys sell your dogs for $200K? Like, that is my baby. That is my baby. I birthed her. That is my child. Like, there's no money. I would not sell her. But it just got me thinking. I'm like, I wonder if people would have taken that $200K.
So she said she'd never sell her dog for any amount of money, but was curious what other people would do. So would you sell your current dog or maybe a cat? If somebody was like...
Maybe a hedgehog or guinea pig?
I want to, I've got money. I've got, lots of cash. I want a dog that's about 6 months old because my kid wants it. And I'm going to give you almost $250,000. What would you do? I mean, that's a tough call. However, I don't think I could do it.
No. Well, I'd say for you and I, right? Like, I've had my dog for almost 3 years now, and you've had Sadie since she was a puppy. So we've had them for a long time. But in this case, the woman's only had the dog for less than 6 months, really, because she would have only gotten him when he was old enough to be taken away from the litter. So it's only maybe had him for 3 or 4 months?
Still, you get attached very quickly. So could you just do it? I mean, if money was tight, and people have been surrendering dogs over the last 2 years, as we learned from Pet and Wildlife Rescue. They've had a ton of surrenders for various reasons, but some of them are economic reasons.
Yeah, people have had to downsize. Maybe they've been kicked out of whatever apartment or condo that they're in and had to move somewhere else that doesn't allow pets. So, what do you do in that situation?
I think I would be like, okay, well, bring the money over to the house. I want you to stack it all up on the table so I can look at it
and verify that it's not counterfeit.
And then you can take the money and get out. I'd want to at least look at it. Just a minute. Is there a number though? What if it wasn't $200,000? What if it was $500,000? Somebody was like, Cheryl, I love your husky. It's a beautiful dog. I want it. Here's $500,000 check.
Someone did stop me the other day when I was walking and yelled out the window.
$500,000?
No, they said, I love your dog. They're so cute.
I don't think I could do it.
No. And here's the thing is, well, I guess my dog is special. He was from the shelter. He's not a purebred husky.
Mm-hmm.
So
he looks like it, though.
No, he's got the body shape of a shepherd, but the colorings of a husky. So he's kind of this weird hybrid, and a lot of people like that. So I don't know. He is very unique, but it's not...
we got Sadie in the fall of 2019, right? So she wasn't a pandemic dog.
No.
But then a few months later, the world ended. And so for us, the mental health of, everybody shut down. Nobody was visiting anyone. You couldn't go anywhere. She was so important to our mental health for all kinds of reasons.
Forcing you to get out, go for walks.
Runs and whatnot too. So $500,000 is a lot of money. $200,000 is a lot of money. Still don't think I could do it. 'Tis the season for holiday parties, whether it's your work, whether it's your family, friends. Today is ugly Christmas sweater day. There may be some of those tonight. So you get invited to all these various things. Well, one health study has now found it's okay to say no.
Apparently, politely declining invitations to holiday parties can actually be good for your mental health. 77% have accepted an invitation to an event they didn't really want to go to because they thought it was rude to say no. But this study found that hosts usually don't mind as much as we might think. So people in the study assume that it would leave the host disappointed, angry, and less likely to invite them to future events, but apparently that's not actually the case.
Yeah, you're worried that you're going to get on the blacklist, right? And then you're suddenly seeing all these photos of parties and you're not invited to them.
In general, people understand that you can't make it to everything. You might have some prior engagements. and that we majorly overestimate just how upset they'll be. Not to mention, if they're having a big party, they're not even going to realize that you're not there, unless it's different if it's like a one-on-one kind of hangout. But if it's a big party,
maybe they'll run into you later on and say, hey, you good? Like, you weren't able to make it out, that kind of thing. But they say it's a great way to help you avoid holiday burnout.
Yes. Now, they just say don't be a Grinch and skip them all, because socializing in general is good for your mental health. So just pick and choose which ones you're going to go to.
And then don't feel bad if you decide to say no.
It's the best time of the year for white lies. Previous arrangements and family estrangements, it works every time. It's the best time of the year for white lies. Driving in the cold weather with a stupid sweater is not how I like to rock. And neither is listening to your boring stories while your dog is sniffing my crotch. It's the most awkward time of the year.
You've been listening to Dave and Cheryl's favorite moments of the week.